spectacular stuff. Still going.
Whoa, what about that one?
We've got a thriller.
Oh, that was outstanding.
This is why we love rugby league.
It's the Knights and the Cowboys on Fox Sports.
And a game where both teams have been hit by injury. The Newcastle Knights line up this way. They do get Kurt Gidley back in action for the first time in 2010. He's also their captain. Keith Lalia takes the place of the injured Wes Nguama. Scott Giroux, the halfback, is out of the side. Ben Rogers comes in for him. And there's one change in the forward pack with Mark Tafua coming into the starting side. Steve Simpson also out with injury. The coach is Rick Stone. The North Queensland Cowboys, of course, they're missing Jonathan Thurston. They have Ray Thompson playing halfback, but Ty Williams comes into the back line. Ashley Graham will play at 5'8" for the missing Grant Ravelli, and Carl Webb comes into the starting side as well. Their coach is Neil Henry. It'll be Kurt Gidley to supply the kickoff. Into the action straight away, the returning skipper. A bit of a floating kickoff, an awkward bounce. They come up with possession, and it's the new skipper in place of Jonathan Thurston, Matthew Scott, who brings it back out on the opening carry. Kafusi now takes it beyond the 20. Anthony Watts, of course, in the number 9 jumper, taking the place of Aaron Payne in this decimated new North Queensland lineup as they go. That left-hand side, Ashley Graham picked up and slammed down on his back. Nice carry for the new 5'8" as far as being smashed by the defence. Their first touch of the ball in this one. Watts gives it off to Scott as they take it up towards the halfway line. One more play here in this set of 6. They'll kick from around about the mid-stripe as Watts feeds it back for Thompson. Under a bit of pressure there from Corey Patterson, who just braced himself. A bit of contact, but nothing untoward from the Newcastle Knights back rower. And Cooper Viner will play it just inside the 30.
Well, we did wonder how the Cowboys were going to set up for their kick, and Ray Thompson does look to be the only option. There was no support for Ray Thompson on the inside if that chase had been a little bit stronger from Newcastle. I think they can really identify that as Newcastle earn themselves a penalty, as the Cowboys have, through Anthony Watts, have twisted Ben Cross back on his side. Here he is, rolled him back over. They're on the attack, but the kick is very important for the Cowboys, and Ray Thompson looked to be a bit stranded on that first one.
We'll wait and see if they can improve that aspect of their play next time they're working it away from their own end. For the moment, it's the Knights on the attack with Evan Tuamavave. Just to play it outside the North Queensland 20-metre line. He goes to Jarrett Mullen. Nice face ball. Running onto it was Mark Tafua. He signed a new 2-year deal to stay in Newcastle during the week. Now Mullen will cut out ball once again. Gives it away to Keith Lalia. Playing it right centre in place of Adam McDougall tonight. He's only a metre or so away here. Plays it for De Goyce. Mullen once again getting plenty of touches inside the Cowboys 20 in this set. Tafua about 5 metres away from the line. They go to the short side. A chance here for Serrano, who reaches out. Did he lose the ball or plant it down?
I think he thought he was going to be short, and it looked like he wanted to pass the ball on the inside. Then he kept going through the tackle, and it was the outstretched arms. He looks on the inside. There's no one there. Somehow he keeps it into his arms. Has he got control of it? It looks like he has. And they're always short on that side, the Cowboys. That was the 3rd time that the Knights had gone to the right side. There's Serraldo keeping his hands on the ball as he plants it down in the in goal. And the Cowboys' defence on that left side screaming out for them to push across, and no one was. It's a try. Good start, the Knights. Another good start by the Knights.
They can get off to a fast one. George Nadira and company waiting back on the bench here at EnergyAustralia Stadium. Serraldo running at Scott. One-on-one tackle. Wasn't able to pull him up, and well, it did come away from his fingertips as the ball came to the grass. He got it down cleanly. No doubt about that. And they will play from in front again here tonight. We'll wait and see, though, if they can go on with the job, because, as we mentioned, during our pre-game show. They've had a habit of getting off to fast starts this season, fading badly in the second half of games. They could have easily been a lot better than a 1-4 record coming into this one tonight. Kurt Gidley, 5 metres in from that eastern touchline. Looking to add the extra 2. He's got it fading back. It'll hit the upright and stay out. Pretty good strike. Jonathan Thurston, of course, still trying to work through his own contract issues at the moment. They'd love to have him out there tonight, Matty Adamson, but ominous signs early here for the Cowboys.
Yeah, Neil Henry would be very disappointed with that start. I did say in the opener that one thing these two teams will bring with the amount of injuries they have is certainly some passion and pride, and that certainly stems in your defence. We didn't see that from the North Queensland Cowboys at all in those first 2 defensive sets.
See if they can show a bit of starch right here. Mullen with the catch, and it's Vuna who brings it back. He was looking for Ben Cross. Instead, it was Vuna who carries it forward. He's as good as a front rower taking it forward as well. Now Cross plays it. So come down the short side. Patterson running at Ray Thompson, testing him out. But they like him as a defender, and he makes a good tackle right there on the second row. And now Junior Sal picked up on a strong tackle also. Carl Webb was underneath him and stops him on his own side of halfway. Goes from Mullen. Another cutout ball to Tuamavave in the middle of the field with Serraldo on his outside shoulder. Had they let the ball go again, it looked as though the Cowboys were struggling for numbers badly on that left edge. And it's one thing to talk about what the changes mean as far as your attack is concerned, but more importantly, a host of changes can really hurt you defensively. It looks to be the case to start with in this opening 5 minutes on the left-hand side for North Queensland.
And that is one area where you don't want to be short against this Newcastle team with Jared Mullen, who has the best left to right pass in the game. He will find them out. But you're right, left-hand side very short again, as they were in those opening sets, and a pass that went one wider than what it did. They had a 3-on-1. They had a 3-on-1 if it went one wider. They'll have to address that, the Cowboys. Watch out a dummy half.
Running a long way, he had them back pedaling. Junior Sal wasn't able to get back to 10 initially, and he got back there to wrap him up after Watts picked up the best part of 20 metres. Thompson, no real pressure again this time for Newcastle. Not a bad kick down the shallow short side, but it sits up for Gidley to bring it back. And he puts his body on the line, just charging back at them to play it. 20 on his own side of halfway. Now Vuna, a late step as he got to the line there, stopped by Will Tupou, and he might have hurt himself as well here. It was a good tackle by Tupou, and he went down pretty heavily, and he comes up clutching his eye perhaps.
It looked like he grabbed his forehead or his eye. Cheekbone, is it? Anthony Watts has made contact as he fell into that one. The tackle by Tupou was a good one, and then Watts has made contact with the forearm across the cheek.
He put his hand up, Anthony Watts, saying, yeah, I apologise for that. I did get him high. He was on the way down, though. A little bit a tough one to avoid for Anthony Watts. It's going to hurt the Cowboys here, because I'm sure we're going to see on the advice of the video referee a penalty. And the only way, of course, it can be a penalty is if Anthony Watts is placed on report.
And he was.
Has to be placed on report for a video referee to refer to the on-field official these days. And that should be a penalty to the non-offending team. Here's Mullen on the attack once again. Another chance to the right-hand side. Out the back it goes from Gidley. Away to Lalia. He's got Uarte with him. He won't need him. The Newcastle Knights slicing them to bits on the right-hand side of the field. They've scored 2 tries in the opening 7 minutes, and boy, it could be a long one for the Cowboys here tonight.
Well, they're not just pushing, they're just not pushing across the Cowboys. Look at how thin they are out there. That pass gets them on the outside. Ben Rogers off to Gidley, and there's just space. There's open space for Keith Lalia, who had Uarte on the outside if he needed him, but he didn't need him. There's Willie Tonga. He's the second last defender. And there's four Newcastle Knights outside Willie Tonga. So the winger, John Williams, had something to deal with, didn't he? All too easy from Newcastle.
Slightly tougher one than his first kick. He struck that one well enough. Won't need much of an adjustment to get the flags in the air on this one. Fading back once again. Oh, boy! It's El Masri like the control he had on that. 10 points to 0. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Was there groans from the crowd behind him? They thought he'd hooked that one, but sliced it back beautifully. Little wider than the kick before. It is well executed, and a well executed play out the back. Ben Rogers, nice tip onto Gidley. There's Lalia. He always knew that he could do it himself, even though the Cowboys were madly scrambling from the inside. And there's the kick from Gidley. Started it way out to the left and swung back nicely.
Ben Cross brings it forward. Boy, Neil Henry would be a very worried man at the moment, Matty Adamson.
Yeah, certainly would. I'm with Brandy on that. Their defensive structure is not only looking dismal, but as I said, their energy is a little bit out of sorts here this evening as well. Brandy, I thought that goal kick resembled something of your golf shot, actually. Something very similar I've seen out there at Penrith on a couple of occasions.
That's a long time ago, Matt.
It was a long time ago, but I'm sure he's still hitting them long and strong.
He does, man. I can guarantee you. He certainly does. As Cross plays it for De Gois. They go to the right-hand side for Mullen to kick from inside the 40. He was thinking 40-20 as well. Just didn't get the angle on it. In fact, he'll kick it dead from his own side of halfway. Shannon Gallant will bring it back out for a restart for the Cowboys from their own 20.
Gee, that went dead with very little effort from Jared Mullen. He does strike the ball so cleanly. If he gets the angle right, there's no doubt that he can chalk up his second 40-20 of the season. And Newcastle pretty adept at 40-20s with Scott Giro, who's not playing tonight, another Newcastle player that's pretty handy in that area.
10 minutes gone, and at the moment, it's a point a minute for the locals. They need a victory. They've started in great fashion here tonight, carving the North Queensland defence apart almost at will. 2 penalties they've received to take them on the attack. They've scored off the back of both of them. Now the Cowboys try and return the favour. Lose the rhythm right there as they came to the right-hand side. A ball went to ground, and Tupou it is. He'll play it 5 in from the touchline. Thompson under pressure here. Boy, Isaac De Gois pulled out of the challenge right there. He could have absolutely drilled Ray Thompson and got there before he kicked the ball.
He ended up behind him after he kicked the ball. He'd already run past him. I think sometimes players forget that they can just make a tackle. And that's why we see so many penalties, because players think that they have to come through and hit with a shoulder charge. But Isaac De Gois could have just tackled him normally and just shut anything. Look at Isaac De Gois. Now he's going to have all sorts of problems at nights.
As do the North Queensland defenders. Vuda now 15 metres out from the line. They just keep pouring through them down that right-hand side. Gidley comes to the left. Mullen to Rogers. He gets it on. Corey Patterson is in. And you can just about throw in the white towel and stop the fight. Boy, oh boy. What an old-fashioned carve-up this is. 14 points to 0. They're outstripping the clock. And it could get embarrassing unless the Cowboys can find some starch defensively.
Yeah, good run there. Isaac De Gois out of dummy half. A couple of the Cowboys called offside, and they let play go on. Anthony Watts, one of them at marker. And then the quick shift. It's Mullen to Rogers, and Rogers, well, he thought he was going to score himself, but it was quite easy for Corey Patterson. They're all up, Newcastle. And quite the opposite for the Cowboys.
Kurt Gidley, 2 out of 3 in his comeback game so far, 16 points to 0. I don't know if you brought a pencil to the game, Matty, to keep score here, but you might need several.
Yeah, I think I might need more than a pencil. If you're a North Queensland supporter, if you've got any tissues close by, go and get them, because you're going to need them here tonight. I'll tell you what is very, very disappointing here. I'm going to get in before you boys do. At some stage, someone's going to talk about Thurston's out, O'Donnell's out, Payne's out, but the Newcastle Knights got to heap out tonight. What they've done, they've turned up here to ready to play. The North Queensland Cowboys have it. Neil Henry's got some issues. Get him into half-time. They need a real good, stern, old-fashioned talking to, Brandi.
Boy, I can tell you what, half-time seems like a long time into the future at the moment. It's the best part of half an hour, and goodness knows where they'll be if they don't muscle up right here. Here is Gidley getting out of dummy half, grabbed by Bolton just outside the Newcastle 30-metre line. Now Cross. Everybody suddenly playing like a halfback, running and delivering. They're back at the halfway line on play number 4. Gidley's kick down the short side. Oh boy, it stays. No, it didn't. It bounced. It must have come down right on top of the chalk. And for a moment there, I thought there was a play for Akuyuwate because he can really motor. I was going to put some pressure on Shannon Gallant at the back. Here it is again.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, on the line. The way Kurt Gidley was shaping up there, I thought he was going to put a little one over the top because John Williams was up in the defensive line. You're right, Shannon Gallant was posted on his own, but he was a good 30 metres back. A little one to Uarte there would have been the play from Gidley.
The Cowboys get a chance in Newcastle territory. They'll work it down towards the 30-metre line through Willie Tonga. He'll play it here for Anthony Watts. Willie Mason coming off the bench again tonight. Started just the one game so far this season. That was down at Wollongong in the loss to the St George Illawarra Dragons in round 3. Tonight he's off the bench once again. Here's Rapira working it inside the Newcastle 20. See if they can apply some pressure here to the Knights defensive line. They come to Ray Thompson. Goes away to Carl Webb, who runs at Junior Sow and also Ben Rogers. He'll play it 5 metres out from the Newcastle line. Tupou gives it to Thompson. A little grubber straight though with Kurt Gidley. No real pressure there on the fullback. And he was able to come up with possession pretty comfortably. And now Ben Cross brings it back out towards the 20. They'll play it here for De Gois. 16 points to 0. If you've just walked in thinking you haven't missed too much of the game, you've already missed 3 tries as it turns out. We'll take you through the highlights, of course, in our halftime show. First of a couple of games tonight on Super Saturday. Thinking about the Roosters and the Raiders to follow this one. I'll play it here through Serraldo, the first of the 3 try scorers already. A kick from Mullen's left boot. Across the field, all juggled by Ty Williams. He came up with it. Not before he had his heart in his mouth.
Now, better defensive set there by the Cowboys. They did restrict the running of the Knights. And their formation certainly looked better. They weren't offering much to the Knights. They'll start their set in reasonable position after a forced kick, a kick under pressure from Jared Mullen. Mason with his first touch.
Watts goes from dummy half. He had the markers out of position off a fast play. The ball ducks under the tackle there of Tafua. Oh, and they ran into a good shoulder. Corey Patterson
Can hit Corey Patterson.
He really can now. Ray Thompson puts it down. Trying to put something on. He was off attacking the line before he actually caught the ball, and as a result he makes a mistake which relieves the pressure which had been building through the good run of Anthony Watts until he hit a brick wall called Patterson.
Yeah, Corey Patterson, Anthony Watts stepped off the right. It wasn't going to fool Corey Patterson, and we've seen him do that plenty of times, just lean that big body. He's got terrific timing in defence. And there's the breakdown of the set so far.
Here's Gidley down the short side from the scrum win. Saw just the one error from both sides to this point of the game, but boy, it's a mismatch at the moment. De Gois going through Mullen, away to Tuamavave, who puts a step on before he's wrapped up there by Steve Rapira. He plays it back into North Queensland territory. Looking across the field, Rogers finds himself on the right-hand side. Play it here for Mullen to go from first receiver and give it off to Mark Tafua. One more play in this set. Here's Mullen once again. He'll put it up. Put some pressure on both Gallant and Williams. Williams doing the blocking. Gallant comes down with a nice catch and then spins away from one, but not Gidley. He can be elusive on those kick returns, but that time they had him wrapped up pretty well.
Yeah, look, he's had a couple of good games, Shannon Gallant, after missing the early games. Oh, the Cowboys dragged into touch. Williams, who had made his way over from the left wing, jumped into dummy half, went the short side. And a couple of big Newcastle Knight defenders, Junior Sow involved. You don't want to get into a power play with Junior Sow.
No,
with those legs driving.
He has Les Boyd thighs. He can drive you over the sideline and keep you going if he wants to. I'll pay the penalty right there. There he is. Not the tallest centre in the world. Nobody could squat more than him, though. I'm going to say in the gym. I don't know what he can squat, but he'd be something to watch with the weight on his shoulders. Here is Gidley, working it towards the uprights. Stopped there by Bolton. They already have 3 tries, looking for a 4th right here. De Gois from dummy half gives it to Tafua. Mullen still on this left-hand side. They won't need Mullen. Isaac De Gois scores his first try of the season. He makes it 20 points to 0. And this is an absolute whitewash.
Well, I want Matty Adamson to go out there and do a head count, because I'm sure the Cowboys are short a couple of numbers. Have they got 13 blokes on the field? I'm not sure. Their numbering up looked like it was all right in a couple of defensive sets, but there is holes everywhere in that line and defending your try line. Little fullback Shannon Gallant was forced to make the tackle after a dummy from Isaac De Gois, really, that shouldn't have filled too many people on your try line. And Gallant was the only Cowboy hanging on. They must have 15 on the field, the Knights.
Well, the conversion makes it 22 points. And if you count those heads, Matt, down there, they got 13 on the field.
Oh, whatever it is, boys, I've got to be with you. There's one thing I really struggle with as an ex-player in rugby league, but when you turn up to a game, you got players injured, you got to turn up and compete. The North Queensland Cowboys just aren't even competing here. And what you're saying, Greg, about the numbering up, that's the first sign of complacency in a football team. When you don't get your numbers right, you don't get your even splits at the goalpost, you're going to find yourself in trouble. That's all about energy and commitment to your football team. The North Queensland Cowboys are showing none. It is going to be an absolute storm here tonight. There'll be points galore. Buckle yourself in.
Boy, Cooper Werner again on the restart, bringing it back and running over the top of Ray Thompson, who bounced back to his feet. He's tough enough, this rookie number 7, but boy, Cooper Werner bringing it back. Fancy trying to stop him. Here's Ben Cross. Speaking of bringing it back, good tackle right around the bootlaces as well by Anthony Watts. Cut him down in a hurry now. Quick ball from Serraldo. They go to the right-hand side. Leah this time was stopped there by Williams. They keep it alive. It comes from Tuamavave. Back midfield, the guys had a chance to put Tafua away with Rogers in support. He just couldn't find the handle.
No, John Williams did a good job there to shut it down because it was on again. One more pass to the right. In the end, they were able to force it back and pop it back and come back through the middle, and the hands from De Gois, if they had been on song, we would have been sitting behind the try line again.
Well, Matthew Scott, for the moment, will try and carry it towards the halfway line here. Going at a point a minute as they go back into Newcastle territory. Carl Webb carrying the ball towards Corey Patterson, and Patterson had him lined up and really launched himself, but didn't connect squarely, fortunately for Carl Webb. Here's Watts giving it to Mason. Ball away there for Appear. It comes back to Gallant, who will play it just outside the 20. A couple of plays left in this set of 6 as it goes through the hands of Graham. Off to Willie Tonga. Got away there from Jared Mullen before Uarte and De Gois wrap him up just outside the 10 of Newcastle. Last play, Graham grubbering, not handled, coming through. North Queensland have scored through Shannon Gallant.
Just check if he knocked that ball on as he grabbed it, please.
We're going to go upstairs and have a look at it. It did look like a try to Shannon Gallant. The error from Kurt Gidley at the back. Ash Graham was the man that stepped up with the kick and put it right across the face. They got it through the Newcastle defensive line. They're onside. There's Shannon Gallant leading the chase, but he's good. Gidley's fumbled the ball. Gallant over the top. Did he scoop it up? He's done a great job, Shannon Gallant. He did. He had to do a little bit more than what we thought from behind. It looked like I thought he'd just fallen on the ball, but the ball wasn't even in the in-goal area. He had to scoop it up after he dived over the top of Gidley. It will be a try, and still then had some work to do and juggled it in the in-goal and got it down.
He's a good player. Shannon Gallant took a chance to go to North Queensland. squeezed out of the Tigers, in which he played some good games for them over the seasons as well. And he comes up with the first 4-pointer for the Cowboys in this one to stem the flow of points, which threatened to be anything at half-time, the way Newcastle was scoring them and the way the North Queensland defence had opened up. And now from beside the post, John Williams sticks it across the black dot. He makes it 22 points to 6 as we go downstairs to Matt Adamson with a special guest.
Yeah, been lucky enough to be joined by the captain of the Cowboys, Jonathan Thurston. JT, thanks for your time. Shannon Gillespie's tries put a smile on your face, mate, but not the start you probably expected.
Yeah, a bit slow out of the blocks there, behind 20 points, but you know, certainly test the character of the side and see what we can do for the rest of the game.
Talking the character of the side, have you seen a bit of complacency in the first 20 minutes?
No, they've just obviously scored off the back of our mistakes. Penalties, drop balls have certainly let them down our end, and you know, haven't been able to work out of our end with a good kick. So hopefully the boys can turn it around, and hopefully good things will come.
First hand with the injury, mate. Can you give us a time frame on how far away you are from playing again, and what is the injury?
Yeah, it's just a torn muscle in the back that goes to the shoulder. So they said 3 to 4 weeks. So I'm hoping to be back before the test, hopefully, so fingers crossed.
We're lucky enough to have you on the sideline as captain. We don't get an insight into it, but what would you say to the boys at halftime if you were playing tonight?
At halftime, probably just complete our sets. We've got to play the ball down their end. We haven't been down their end yet, so hopefully the boys can do that and get a few repeat sets and get some points.
Is there anything you'd say other than that, mate?
No, that's it.
Nothing you could say on television. Thanks, JT.
All right, thanks.
Absent Jonathan Thurston. Absent as far as the on-field duties are concerned tonight, doing it tough, no doubt, watching on from the sideline as his team gave up 22 straight points before they scored through Shannon Gillespie. Daniel Tola playing tonight with a shoulder injury. He was another in doubt for Newcastle before kick-off here tonight. They get another penalty. It's their third of the game, and it's not good news for the Cowboys because in the 2 previous times they've conceded a penalty, the Knights have come down the field and scored off the back of them.
See, now I thought he marked up there. I thought he got back just about in front of the player. Dan Tola actually stepped to the right-hand side as he was playing it to make it look like James Tamu wasn't in front of the player. But I thought he'd done a good job to get back up and quickly and mark up pretty much square. But Tola sort of fell away to the right, which made it look like he wasn't square. That's a tough penalty.
Wait and see if they can hold on here. They'll need to. Here is Mullen turning it back on the inside for Tola. He was looking for an offload himself. Gidley was there. They play it just outside the Cowboys 20. It goes to Rogers, putting a bit of a step on, but he was well handled back on the inside by both Tamu and also Rapira. Here's Mullen, goes across the face of Patterson, picked up by Junior Sau. He gives it away to Cooper Vuna. We're coming back to check this because it looked as though there was a knock-on.
I don't know.
Pick that ball up.
I don't know. I thought he picked it up. It was a remarkable pickup because the pass missed the target. Sau was moving forward. We'll have a look at it, but from behind, I thought he'd done a great job to pick it up. Mullen throws it on the ground.
We'll get another angle to take a look at it. No doubt about the put down. He won the race, but boy, I had an immediate question marker about the pickup. I was just waiting for a whistle, to tell you the truth. Can't see it from that one there. Junior Sau picks it up. Can't rule on forward passes. It looked to be okay anyway, but if you're asking me to make a call from our position, I'd be saying knock on against Junior Sau. There's the ball. Well,
Oh, does it? Well, it never leaves his hand.
Yeah.
I know. We might have missed the important part of it.
I think we might have done.
But let's have a look if we can pick it up here. And this is the one we saw live. This is what we saw live. Oh yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
I had too much doubt.
Yeah, he's knocked that on. He's knocked that on. It does look like it comes off his left hand first and then back to his right.
Well, you can't be sure either way, but from what we've seen on that one right there, I'm going to say my doubt is inclining me to say that I couldn't give it.
See, live I thought he picked it up all right, but then watching that in slow-mo, I would say the left hand has knocked the ball on.
We'll wait and see what they say. Our video referee, Phil Cooley, says try. His doubts went in favour of the Newcastle Knights and not the Cowboys. As we've seen so far tonight, the Cowboys can't resist any pressure. Gidley's kick from the left-hand touchline away to the right-hand side. It stays a 20-point lead once again, and it looks as though the Shannon Gallant try might have been just a minor hiccup in this avalanche of points for the Newcastle Knights in this first half.
And what they are doing well, Newcastle, they aren't pushing it. They can see that there is space everywhere. There's no miracle passes. Their completion rate is outstanding. They have dominated the ball. Therefore, the points are coming. With a defence that's lacking any sort of intensity from the Cowboys, the points will continue to come if they do a good job of just holding the ball and staying patient.
Don't play it on him.
They play at Newcastle, just inside their own 30. Here is Aku Uwate. You would think if there are points in the offing tonight, and they certainly are, you would have backed him to score plenty of them, but at the moment still tryless. May not be for a whole lot longer though, as Richie Fa'oso plays it quickly to give Gidley a chance to jump out of dummy half. He comes searching to the left-hand side, and luckily for the Cowboys, Thompson and Rapira are there to shut him down eventually. Now to Goyce, to Rogers, who kicks down the narrow side, goes to Shannon Gallant, but he sees an eager chase team. 6-7 of them converge on him as he brings it back out to his own 20-metre line. Half an hour gone. And it's all the home side. The Knights in command of this one.
Gee whiz, I bet Shannon Gallant, we're going to have a shepherd. The old-fashioned shepherd, just run behind the player. Willie Tupou. Here he heads off across the field. And it's Bolton coming through.
Oh, that's not a penalty. That's not a penalty. That's not an old-fashioned shepherd. Nobody there
Was obstructed.
or not, forget about a collision, but nobody was put off by the runner coming through. The defender chasing across the field had a play on Tupou the whole way. I'm a keen defender of the referees in regards to obstruction calls and the way they're interpreting them at the moment, but boy, that wasn't one right there. Here's Mullen. Another penalty could cost another try for the Cowboys. We'll wait and see what happens in the remaining 3 plays in this set of 6. Poor pass from dummy half. Goes across the head of Jared Mullen, who I think was the intended receiver, and now Tolar will play it just inside the 10. Here's De Goyce. Out of dummy half, already has one from that position. Might have been biting off a little bit too much there. From about 5 or 6 metres out. Well handled by Watts and also Tamu. They go back to the right. Mullen grubbering in behind them. Some pressure on Williams, who will force the ball in the in-goal area. And they'll get a goal line drop out Newcastle.
Now, it was well read by John Williams. Nice kick by Jared Mullen. Not always easy to get it through that defensive line, but those players that have got the skill to be able to kick the ball on the outside of their foot certainly opens the angle up for them. Well, they didn't score off the penalty. Let's see if they can score off a repeat set and a line dropout.
Gidley with the catch, and he gives it to Dan Tolar. And brings it back towards Anthony Watts and also Scott Bolton. He'll play it just inside the North Queensland 30. Here's a chance for Mullen to put his foot down. He was almost able to sneak in between Tamu and Rapira. They're working feverishly in the middle of the field. They have to as well. Sal, another ball to Vuna, and guess what? Another try for Newcastle. It's not a game, it's a shame. 30 points to 6. And they are still just about keeping pace with the clock. Boy, it's just way, way too easy on both sides of the field, isn't it?
Yeah, terrific ball there by Isaac De Goyce out of dummy half. That allowed Ben Rogers to take it to the line. It didn't miss a beat. Rogers draws Ray Thompson. They had a decoy runner. He face-balled the decoy runner. Willie Tupou was drawn in, and then it was a 2-on-1. The play by Rogers created the 2-on-1. And Sal propped and offloaded to that man, Cooper Vuna, who I'm sure we've seen him do that again before. Raise the arm and the big smile. And Shannon Gallant in vain again.
Gidley. Better strike this time for the second time tonight. He hits the uprights. It stays at 30 points to 6. And I don't know what Neil Henry, you asked Jonathan Thurston what he would say at half-time, Matt, if he was back in the sheds with the team. I'm sure he will be, but I don't know what Neil Henry comes up with here.
Yeah, I was going to ask Brendan the same question, just for the viewers at home. You can see here in their numbering, they've only got 4 players past the post. And for the viewers at home, when the ball's in the middle of the field, as a coach, you want to have 5 on the left side, 5 on the right side. That's on the second occasion. Of course, the last try, that was the benefit of the doubt. Both occasions, the North Queensland Cowboys have only had 4 players, and that makes it very, very difficult to defend a team like Newcastle.
Well, you mentioned the record books, Brandy, and the biggest ever loss suffered by the North Queensland Cowboys. 60 points to 24 back in 2003. Now the Newcastle Knights give away a penalty themselves.
Con Mika penalised there as the Knights tried to work it out of their own end. Come on, the Cowboys.
They'll play it here through Menikafoa to Watts inside the 20 of the Knights. Here's Tamu, proving to be hard to stop. Got away from Con Mika's first up tackle. Now he's just 5 metres away. Watts again, going in behind the decoy of Mason. Thompson taking them on. Got to Patterson, who cut him down. Gallant to Watts. Steps off the right foot. Wrapped up pretty comfortably, though. They got to him through Serraldo and Patterson defending on the same side of the field. Now Ashley Graham. Not a bad grubber once again. No try, but he'll get his team another repeat set.
Let's go, get that ball, guys, let's go.
It's their best tactic so far. Give it to Ashley Graham. Let him just dob one into the in-goal area.
Let's stay behind.
It's pretty comfortably handled by the Newcastle Knights, but 6 more tackles. And you're trailing 30 points to 6 is a fair result itself. Mullen with the dropout. More than 50 on the fly as it goes to Gallant. Gives it off. Oh boy, James Tamu, who's hitting a pretty solid tackle. Tolar came motoring down the field with Richie Fa'oso. And now Mason. Takes it inside the Newcastle 30. 3 minutes out from half-time. It can't come soon enough. Now a call of forward against North Queensland. It could have only come from the touch judge. I'm not convinced they got the call right.
Short pass, wasn't it? I know we're behind the play, so the angle does look ordinary from here, but Watts' hands look like they pushed the ball forward. I'm going to say forward pass. I'm going with the touch he was.
Fair enough. Now the Knights working forward through Rogers off the scrum win.
We might have to
10 on his own side of halfway. Sorry.
We might have to create a little bit of competition in the commentary box because it's not happening out there.
You are right. It is as one-sided a game we've seen this season in the NRL. We've seen some big score lines in the Toyota Cup. But boy, this is something out of the box as far as the NRL is concerned. 30 points to 6 here. A couple of minutes out from the break as De Gois gives it to Gidley, who puts it down. He was thinking about setting them alight down that right-hand side again, no doubt.
Well, they have been good leading up to the last couple of sets. Con Mika penalised, coming out of trouble. Gidley drops the ball. First game apart from the All-Stars game, which he was injured in the middle of February. Just took his eyes off the ball at the critical stage.
Scott Bolton it is who takes it up towards the halfway line. Off the back of the scrum win for North Queensland as Gallant gets to dummy half. He gives it to Willie Tonga, who was going to be the focal point of the North Queensland attack tonight. All they've done is defend and miss tackles as a result. Now a knock on, yes. And Asi Menikafoa lost the ball. It came back to him, but it touched the Newcastle Knights defender before it came back to his grip. And as a result, the Knights will get one more crack at them here in this final 60 seconds of the first half.
And that defender, Dan Toller, has come up with a couple of good shots on Cowboy players over the last couple of sets.
There's a kick from Mullen, putting it in behind Gallant. Chasing hard was Uarte, right on the little fullback's hammer as well. He got there, real match in speed there. I don't know how they'd go over 100 side by side. It'll be a pretty fair race because Gallant is quick. Uarte, though, you'd back him in over the final 30 or 40 to pull away, wouldn't you? Because, boy, he can really motor.
Well, he can, and I think he can go for the 100, Uarte. He's very quick, but Shannon Gallant had to turn and chase. Good offload there. Thompson into a bit of space, but wrapped up. James Tamu, the man that got the one-arm offload away.
And a one-hand pickup from Anthony Watts down the short side. It gives Tupou a chance to run down within 30 of the Newcastle line last play. They'll get it in before the siren sounds. Watts feeds it for Thompson. He says, let's put it up and see what they can do under the high ball. Uarte standing underneath it. The Cowboys didn't want to chase through. It was almost as if everybody said, boy, we're winning by 24 here. Let's just go to the sheds and have a drink. What do you reckon, fellas? Which is exactly the way it worked out.
What a strange way to finish the half.
The Knights all over the Cowboys, 30 points to 6. The second half underway. Rogers with the catch, and Dan Tolar it is who will bring it out to be stopped in a good tackle by James Tamu. Coming down the field again, working with Rapira there. Good hands by Richie Foe. So, I don't know how he came up with that catch. It was behind him. He was able to reel it back in with the right hand as De Goyce links up with Tolar. Gain of about 5 on the play. And the scoring points at different stages of that first half at will. If you missed the first 30 minutes, first 40 minutes rather, and well, it went by. It felt like 30 minutes, that's for sure.
The Cowboys would have liked 30 minutes. Well, that mightn't have helped them, but
still wouldn't have been too pretty, would it? As Lalia fends away from the tackle there of Ash Graham. He'll play it quickly for De Goyce. It goes with the hands of Con Mika to Darren Mullen. Kicker's a bit of an afterthought. Goes down to Gallant to field it on the full. He brings it back quickly as ever. Wrapped up by Keith Lalia just inside his own 30.
Well, no doubt Rick Stone spoke to his team, who have really struggled in their second halves all year, about continuing to control the football. Don't play it like it's a game of touch footy, and keep the energy levels up. Good hands there by the Cowboys to find some space.
Almost back to the halfway line here as it comes the right-hand side, poking his nose through the line. Good run by Manasi Manakafoa. Will play it for Watts. So they go on the attack a few times in the game. Willie Tonga here wrapped up. Got some attention there from Keith Lalia as Graham puts it high in the air. Going back, Gidley will field it just in the field of play. Not a bad kick as far as position was concerned. And now Gidley goes across to link up here with Junior Sal. There's almost half a gap right there.
Well, he almost created something there, Kurt Gidley, but still good meters. Took the ball right on his try line there. Made 20 almost after handing it off. And the Knights won't stop coming at the Cowboys. Let's see what sort of enthusiasm the Cowboys can muster this second 40.
Rogers getting out of dummy half, losing the ball. And some good defence. He's forced a mistake. We'll wait and see what the Cowboys can do off the back of it, but they need to do something and do plenty of it in this second half. See Manakafoa there just coming in over the top after Rapira was the first man to make the tackle around the legs. We'll give them a chance here from about 40 metres out.
The half got through there, Rogers, and was setting up for a pass. Here's Ash Graham off the back of the scrum.
Players in motion coming back to the inside. Scott Bolton was The back row back on the angle, but he elected to hang on to it. And now Tonga will play it. 35 away from the Newcastle line. Mason gives it off to Tamu. Gets the arm free. Another offload for the lock forward as Mason got away from one, but then Todd Mika came in. Gave him a real rib check. Thompson, Manakathoa had a look. He put it down and the Knights will come up with it.
He hasn't made much of an impact, Manakathoa, after he moved from South to the Cowboys. Junior South half got on the outside of Will Tupou then, but he was well handled. And that wasn't one of his best moments. Manakathoa really had a look there at the defensive line.
And in the short side, they skip Newcastle through Junior South to play it 40 metres out from the Cowboys line. Comes to Mullen, who goes across the face of one to give it off to Uwate, who's come midfield looking for a touch. He was heading back to the right-hand side. Heath the leader at the moment playing on the wing with Uwate closer to the action. Gidley gives it off to Isaac de Goyce, who will play it here just outside the 30-metre line. In fact, it was Mullen. Here's Gidley. Kicking for the corner. Galan on some pressure here to keep it in the field of play. Good stepping, got past Gidley, but not Corey Patterson, who came down and might have accidentally got him a little bit high. He can't get to his feet at the moment, the fullback. Here it is again as he looked up, stepped past Gidley. They might have just run into the shoulder there of Corey Patterson. He's okay. He's able to get up and play. Now Williams stopping a good tackle once more by Patterson. Couple of good shots tonight from the big lanky back rower. Bolton will play it here on the last, just outside the 20. Watts' kick from inside the 30-metre line. Not a bad one. Plenty of depth on it. In fact, it's even better. Bouncing towards the sideline here, and Uwate had to get on his bike to make sure it didn't go for a 30-10.
That was a super kick. Anthony Watts, who has been he's been really the shining light in this Cowboys outfit so far tonight. He has troubled the Knights out of dummy half. He's got through plenty of work.
Here's Gidley.
They're short again.
Going across the field to Mullen, who's running a long, long way before he's wrapped up here by Ty Williams, who will be penalised for a high shot.
Don't touch him. Don't touch him.
The Knights came from everywhere. I think on speculation that it might have flared up here. Got him right across the nose there, Williams. The referee's got it straight away.
It bounced down to the neck, but certainly right across the bridge of the nose to start with. Newcastle through 5, so inside the Cowboys 20.
We'll go to Matt Adamson in a moment for a half-time report, but we'll stay with it right here with the Knights on the attack. Patterson 10 metres out from the Cowboys line. Here's Mullen. He goes past Tolar to give it to Serraldo. Rogers on the wraparound around the back of them. Grabbed by Bolton and bullet back beyond the 20. Lalia gives it to Mika. Stopped there by Watts. Good tackle around the legs. Now to Goyce for Gidley. Out the back for Mullen. Numbers again, and they put it through the hands, but they kick instead. Chasing through. Vuna had visions of planting it down for a hat-trick, but got an awful bounce. Went at right angles across the touch-in goal line.
Yeah, the fact that it was popped out the back caused the Cowboys to come up in defence, so the kick was on. He just needed to bounce. He'd headed infield. He had to have just held his line, held his sideline. He might have been presented with another 4-pointer there.
Anthony Watts will play it here as we go downstairs to Matty, and it'll have to be a rocket scientist, Matty, to know what was being said in the North Queensland dressing room at half-time.
Yeah, I'll get to that one in a minute, but yeah, very positive from Rick Stone, his coaching staff in there at half-time, and he spoke about their game plan, which was to come here and attack the North Queensland middle, having conceded 11 of 21 tries in the first 5 rounds of North Queensland Cowboys. That's where they thought they'd get success, and of course that's where they have, but he said what he was expecting was their intent to increase dramatically here in the second half, as they've been in this situation before already so far. From the North Queensland Cowboys dressing room, 5 words were spoken, and the staff member said, Matty, you can quote me on this. He said, you blokes are S-House. I can't say the word. My mum wouldn't let me.
I don't think you have to. And Mum need not fear that you would, because was a pretty good summation, actually, of how they were in the first half without saying it. Oh, terrible, the Cowboys. They trail 30 points to 6. The good news is we've played 8.5 minutes and no change to the scoreline for you Cowboys fans, at least. Here's Vuna playing it. As they take it down the short side through to Goyce, who lost the ball in a tackle. Contact there with the arm perhaps of Ty Williams. The ball came out, and as a result, the Cowboys will get a chance. Pretty close range here. There it is. Rapira coming in. Might have helped the ball out. Let's see what the Cowboys can offer in this next set of 6.
Yeah, no drama about that. Newcastle players appealing for a penalty for what they thought was a strip. You can make contact with the football when attempting to tackle and not be penalised for stripping the ball. It's a bit stilted there. The play out to Bolton. The pass is not crisp.
You can understand that, of course, with all the changes of this Cowboys lineup in the lead up this game. Matthew Scott pops the ball out the back, picked up by Clint Amos, who's out there now, playing his first football in a year, really. Here he is again, getting a chance to go for the line himself, popping a ball for Willie Mason. Instead it goes to ground, but it was knocked on by Newcastle. And we'll come back to the Cowboys here with the scrum feed 10 out from the line as Sharon Gallant and Isaac de Goyce come to grips.
2 little blokes. Clint Amos, the little dummy there, and well, Willie Mason might have been hard to stop, but he did have Con Mika around him. De Goyce knocked the ball down, came up with it, which will give the Cowboys another set. And their willingness to offload the ball at 36 down, I suppose you have to try something, but they have been sticking in the early part of the second half. Bolton again standing one off the scrum.
I'll stop him 5 metres out from the Newcastle line. Amos gives it to Tonga. Good tackle here from Keith Lalia. Into the flare-up once again. I'm not sure. I'm going to say it was a tackle that was too high.
He didn't reach, and it was hard to see where the contact was. It was up around the region, but that has been building nicely too, the little battle between those two, Lalia and Tonga.
Willie Mason, only a couple of metres out. When he plays it, Thompson goes to Matthew Scott, held up there by de Goyce before he got some help from Corey Patterson. Amos, as we said, making a return from an ACL tear, complete reconstruction. He's worked so hard to get himself back into the NRL, and here he is getting a chance in this second half tonight. Amos again from dummy half. It goes from Thompson, away to Carl Webb, from Ashley Graham across the face there of Bolton. Now knocked backwards by Williams. That was okay. He straightens and went past Con Mika, found a yawning gap, and John Williams dives under the black dot. Well, they put the whip down, Newcastle. The ball went to ground, they all stopped, and the Cowboys fans are wrestling each other in the grandstand as well.
Well, he ran nice and hard, John Williams. He ran nice and hard. A lack of commitment from the Newcastle players, Con Mika and Isaac de Goyce, the two that Williams has burst through. There's Gidley being spoken to. Now referee's got problems. Here's the high shot from Lalia. Well, you know what? There's no way that's a penalty. He grabbed him on the shoulder. He didn't wrap his arm around his neck. His arm stayed away. Here's the ball from Graham. It found the ground. Williams did a good job to scoop it up on the second crack at it, and then a total lack of commitment. Isaac de Goyce filthy at Con Mika, who was the first player there, and didn't put his shoulder into the tackle. It looked like it was going to break down there, and the drop ball sometimes does that to defensive lines. They sit back, they relax, and all of a sudden John Williams, who just thought, well, I'll go towards the try line and see what happens.
Well, Con Mika, who's made some strong tackles since coming off the bench in this game. I don't think you believe that Williams would actually run at him. He ran through him, no less. And it's the Cowboys who score first in this second half. 30 points to 12. With just under half an hour remaining. And while they lead very comfortably, the Newcastle Knights, and it'd be $1.04, I guess, if you were having an investment in this game. Rick Stone will be very concerned, hoping that they go on with the job in this second half, or at least don't leak any more points, because they have been the biggest second half faders in the competition this season.
They have faded in every game they've played in.
Yes.
And I know in some of the games, South Sydney and Manly, where they have faded come the 20-minute mark, but in the other games, the Penrith game, the Bulldogs, the first game, they gave up some big leads. I know they hung on to win against the Dogs in round 1, but a quick try here by the Cowboys might make things interesting. The offloading by the Cowboys has certainly put a little pressure on the Newcastle defence. Let's see if it continues.
The Cowboys came back at the Tigers in the second half last week without Jonathan Thurston, of course, on the field after he was injured. He'll be out for the next couple of weeks, as well, as he told us earlier in the game right here on Fox Sports. Now Mullen from dummy half. Can't get complacent just yet. Can't ease up the pressure. They might find themselves under a bit of pressure if they concede the next one in a short space of time. There is Jonathan Thurston looking a bit brighter, isn't he, on the sideline suddenly off the back of those points. Here's Serraldo. There's a bit more starch, a bit more shoulder about the work of the Cowboys defenders in this second period. Mavave, well handled there in a three-man tackle just outside the 30. Plays it here for De Gois. It goes to Mullen. Now Rogers. 4-on-2 situation once again with the winger playing back. The kick goes straight to Ty Williams. He'll run away from Rogers, who got a piece of him and forced the mistake as well.
Well, it's a big play, Benny Rogers. That is a big play. And the Knights know it too. Just about all of them over there to congratulate him. The crowd love it. After running the ball on the 5th tackle, things looked like they were going to close down, so the kick was put in by Junior Sau. And that's what a good centre should do. But Ty Williams, great reflexes to pop it up and then take off, and Rogers, an outstretched dive, and only just got there too. And Williams has come up with a mistake.
And his teammates swamped him like he was Scott Sattler, and it was 2003. They came from everywhere, including the bench, I think, to congratulate him. I think when Ty Williams caught it, they thought there's no way Ben gets to him here. He did. Here he is, passing it to Kurt Gidley, who puts a big fend in the chest of Ashley Graham, and he'll play it on his own side of halfway. Lalia comes to Mark Tafua. Started the game in place of Steve Simpson, one of a number of players out of this Newcastle side tonight. Ben Cross, good tip on from the front row and giving it to Ben Rogers. He was ankle tapped by Scott, finished off by Rapira. Now Gidley to Mullen once again. Still playing on the left-hand side with Rogers flipping with him at times. Is Mullen, now Patterson. Takes it inside the 20. They'll play it for Isaac De Gois. Mullen at first receiver. Will put it high in the air. Uwate chasing through, up against John Williams. What a catch. What a 5-minute period he's had. A try and a spectacular take on his own line. And now the Newcastle Knights a bit too keen in defence, getting up inside the 10. And they'll help the North Queenslanders out of their own end of the easy way.
Just did enough Willie Tonga there to take Aquila Uwate out of play, but did it legally. Good run by Willie Mason.
Brings it back almost to the halfway line. He'll play it here for Ramos. Goes to Graham, and now Carl Webb. Stopped there by Mavave with Tafua involved as well. Amos showing it one way, coming back the other. Good run by Bolden. He got the best part of 15 metres right there. So Raudo was able to stop him. He gets them going in the right direction in a big way. Now Thompson to Gallant. Goes away to Tupou. Dumps it out the back to Gallant, who couldn't get away from Junior Sau. And he'll play it just outside the 30. Play number 5 for Rapira. They'll work it forward. We'll see if they put some pressure on Gidley or perhaps one of the outside men. Thompson it is. He would chip it. Vuna standing underneath it. Williams flying for it. The ball still there on the ground. And for the moment, they're going to say goal line dropout.
Yeah, nice kick there, Ray Thompson. Weighted it perfectly for Ty Williams, who was on the charge. Looked like he could have won the contest. A couple of Newcastle players over there. Cooper Vuna won. He's pushed the ball back. Gidley throws it out before any Cowboys can get their hands on it. Nice play. Good set from the Cowboys. A couple of good charges. Carl Webb, Scott Bolton, Willie Mason to lead the set off.
As Matthew Scott brings it back, you see them playing like this and more than competing. You sort of have to wonder where was this at the kickoff before they gave up 22 straight points in almost as few minutes. Mason played here just outside the 20. Clint Amos catching them out. Corey Patterson was headed towards the extremities from Marker and he almost got his pants pulled down. Here's Thompson going to Graham, cut out ball. Williams up against Aku Uwante. There are plenty of numbers there, including Lulia. Now Bolton works it back towards the uprights. Last play again for the Cowboys. They've produced some goal line dropouts, so they got one more here. Do they have better than that? Thompson grubbering, pressure again on Uwante to come up with the catch. He does and forces the ball, and as a result, they will get 6 more tackles.
Yeah, look, another good set. Well, a complete set. The Cowboys had trouble doing that in the first half. Uwante cleaning up. Cut out ball from Ash Graham to John Williams probably wasn't the play down this left-hand side. Don't go away from your main man, Willie Tonga. You don't want to be cutting him out.
The drop out, bounces up for Graham to give it to Willie Mason. To run it, Serrano tried to put a shot on. Mason went straight past him before he got stopped by Lulia and also de Gois. Here's Bolton now running at Cameron Serrano. He'll play it 15 metres out. Amos gives it to Mason. He gives it off to Matthew Scott, the skipper tonight for the North Queensland Cowboys. He's only about 5 or so away when he plays it. A kipper going to the right-hand side. Carl Webb picked up with a tackle, looking for an offload. There was nobody there to give it to. Amos for Graham. Again, a grubber. This one off the legs there of Jared Mullen. They'll say he played at it, and they'll get 6 more tackles. Here's a chance. Bolton, only a couple of metres out when he stops. Plenty of pressure on the Newcastle Knights inside their own 20 in this second half. Thompson gives it to Scott. And they score consecutive tries, the Cowboys. Amos looking, waiting at dummy half. Comes back to the short side. Fires the ball to Ashley Graham, who again found a huge hole. And the Knights have clocked off. The Cowboys score again, and with a quarter of this game remaining, we're not done with just yet.
They are back into it, the Cowboys, aren't they? Newcastle, the second half wobbles again. And too easy. Jared Mullen off the line, reading the wrong player to get the ball, and that made it easier for Clint Amos to pick out who he wanted to deliver it to. And Ash Graham didn't have to do too much. Just beat the tackle of Lulia.
Here's Williams with the conversion. And with plenty of time on the clock, the difference in what was as one-sided a game as you will ever see in the first half is now just 2 converted tries. There is what? Straight back on the field. Neil Henry tuned into the commentary of Greg Alexander, no doubt. And with him back out there, and the Cowboys suddenly full of confidence, this one is a long way from done. Corey Patterson to get us back underway. A shallow kick-off. It'll float down close enough to the uprights as it turned out. And they're mounting a comeback.
And it's been on the back of their experienced forwards. Carl Webb takes it forward. Matthew Scott's been good. Willie Mason, his charges in this second half really have rallied the Cowboys. Here he goes again. Mason at the line, ready to run over it and offload.
Gives it out the back to Amos, who is wrapped up just beyond his own 40-metre line. Here's Watts getting into first receiver. Bolton now against retreating Newcastle Knights defence. And there were big meters for the back rower once again. Tonga to Watts. Mason can't get his hands on the ball enough. Our offload to Williams. He's got Thompson with him. He ran away from him. If he passes the ball, they score under the post. Oh, what a bomb try that is for the Cowboys. He just had to draw and pass, Brandy.
Ray Thompson hunting up and pushing forward on the inside. Anthony Watts. Mason, how good has he been in this second half? Bang and offload. John Williams thought he could get around Kurt Gidley. That is a great tackle. And then the backup got enough of the player.
Back up, Cowboys, back up.
And then the backup from George Nadira.
Let's go, that's it.
The man that made a bird of it and knocked the ball free. You're right, Williams looks on the inside, Ray Thompson scores. And would we have a ball game then?
Boy, just go to the fullback and draw him and pass the ball. Something of a lost art at times in the NRL. What it used to be, but boy, 6-point game if he scores that try right there. They're in under the black dot through Thompson if he gets the pass. Instead, they still trail by 12, and Newcastle breathe a massive sigh of relief. Gidley playing it for Nadira, who is out there. Tuamavave works it up towards the halfway line. Before tonight, we were speaking of the second half fades of Newcastle. They've been beaten in the second half of all the games, the previous 5. You add them up, 80 points to 22. And they trail 12-0 in this one. Here are the Cowboys, bringing it forward through Tonga, up towards the 40-metre line. Matthew Scott. They scored that try a few moments ago. You'd just about be saying, look, they're favourites to win from here. And they still may well be if they score the next try, because the Knights have stopped on their run and then some. Here's an offload. Watts gets a chance. He turns Tonga back on the inside. He's wrapped up in a good tackle by Mark Tafua. But again, they're just outside the 30-metre line of the Newcastle Knights. Tamu running hard and strong, and there are metres down the middle suddenly for the Cowboys. Here's Thompson. He'll put it up in the air. A kick which will give Graham and others a chance. It goes to ground. Picked up by Williams, and he kicked it straight to Corey Patterson.
Well, Ty Williams pulled off a miraculous take himself not that long ago. This time he provided Corey Patterson with an opportunity, and he didn't disappoint the big fella. Dangerous situation there for the Knights. Down the short side, Junior Sow.
Takes it back beyond the 40. Just inside the final 15 minutes, in this crowd, which had been pretty quiet for most of the second half, rallying here, realising the Newcastle Knights are in trouble, despite leading by 12.
Well, they've watched their team stumble up here at EnergyAustralia Stadium a couple of times this year in second halves. Melbourne and Penrith both came from behind to win. Cross over the top.
And Shannon Gallant pays the price there for stopping in the middle of the field on the kick return, and the big boys coming down the middle were never going to miss him. Now Tonga gets an offload. He'll play it just inside his own 30. Watts gives it to Williams. His pace and footwork has created some chances on this left-hand side in the second half, and he, of course, scored the try back in the 52nd minutes, which got the Cowboys going in this second period as far as the scoreboard is concerned. Now Amos from dummy half. Webb, an offload, knocked backwards by Rapira. It might be play on here. Graham, no, they'll say it was knocked on. It came off the hands of Rapira. He then got it to it again before a touch tonight. But they'll say it still will be Newcastle's ball after there was perhaps another knock on.
Well, another thing that they have done well is the little tip-offs amongst the forwards. That one, it wasn't Carl Webb's smartest pass. There was some pressure on Rapira and it went above his shoulder.
Newcastle win the scrum. Oh, Uwate put a bump there on Anthony Watts. There is big concern in the back play for Jared Mullen, who The Cowboys were working the ball forward in that previous set of 6. Mullen was on the sideline getting some attention to a shoulder injury, remembering he's had shoulder trouble at various stages of his still young career. Now Cross, the player, inside the 30 of the Cowboys. Gidley taking them on. He says, "This way, boys, let me show you the way." Madeira goes to Mullen. Looks to be okay for the moment. To Fuller. Back against the grain, wrapped up there 10 metres out from the Cowboys line. Mullen will chip it. Some pressure here on Ty Williams, who makes the catch in the in-goal area. He left from behind his own goal line and races back out to get them back underway. Still a chance in this game, still plenty of time for them. 12 down, 12 remaining. Rapira will play it for North Queensland. Gives it to Williams, cut down and a good tackle. It was Con Mika who made the tackle on him. It was Mika who made the miss on Williams. Their first try of the second half, and now the Newcastle Knights jumping out too quickly.
Now let's have a look at it. The wide shot. Well, George Madeira standing in front of the ref. Well, the play the ball's just, they're 3 yards offside, the whole lot of them. Absolutely no option for the referee, who was talking to the players too. And it'll put some pressure on Newcastle. Watts finds the line just outside the 20.
Well, a big set of 6 coming up right here. If you're a Newcastle Knight fan, you'll be chewing your fingernails. What might just happen in these next 5 tackles? Matthew Scott will play it. Midfield, 20 out from the line. Comes back to Tamu. He's been a handful in this second half. Big and strong, and now a hand in the play of the ball. The ball came loose from Tamu, but it was helped out, said Ashley Klein.
Let me get out of the way first.
And the flow of penalties keep going to the Cowboys. Amos taps it. He gives it to Thompson. Now Webb. He's still under his arm and just charge at them. Boy, he went with an ace of beating both Mullen and Patterson. Now Scott wasn't expecting it. He'll charge at them also. He figures they're an inch away from cracking here again, the Knights. Amos from dummy half. It comes back for Thompson. Shows it to Tamu. Takes them on. And he's wrapped up by Tafua and Mika in front of the post about 5 metres out. They go back to the right-hand side. Amos showing it himself.
Oh, someone needed to hit the hole. Amos had created it. Tamu needed to run into it.
Tamu. Here he is giving it to Watts, who grubbers in behind them. Nobody was expecting it. There were no chasers. Wrong play at the wrong time, but we're going to come back. And it sounds as though there's going to be a penalty to North Queensland.
It does.
Let's take a look at the reason for
Here's Clint Amos out of dummy half. Now here's the hole. Look at the hole created. James Tamu just heading back, just sitting back. There's a try blown. They still might come up with one.
Here's Amos going to Watts. He didn't get to the penalty, but it was for a contact on Scott Bolton. Watts 5 metres away. Amos goes to Carl Webb. He was under pressure there from Ben Cross. It wasn't crisp delivery from dummy half, and with Ben Cross steaming out at Big Carl, you understand why he had a little look and put it down right there.
Yeah, good play by Ben Cross, putting pressure on the big fellow. Oh, drop ball, but it's been pushed backwards. No, they're going to rule it a knock on.
Keith Lalia. And Keith Lalia scrambling for the ball here. Ben Cross has come from the field. He's on his haunches on this side of the sideline. Here's Lalia, the man who was hitting a good tackle, wasn't he?
Yeah, good shot.
It was Carl Webb. Right in around the ribs, around where the ball was underneath. He forced the mistake, and the Cowboys get another crack at them here. We're still just on 8 minutes remaining.
They're short a player. Newcastle are short a player.
Let's go, Newcastle. Get Jared in closer. Form up. Get Jared in close.
Well, that's not North Queensland's fault. If they're short of player, they're short of player. Bad luck.
Well, what are
There's
they
a scrum
doing
being
about it?
set. You can't make a change at the scrum.
Well, I suppose you can if there's no change to be made. You just need to run someone onto the field.
Well, if they're short of player, it's not North Queensland's fault. Don't stop to save the day for Newcastle. It's play on, boys. If they can't get the numbers right, that's their fault.
You are quite right.
What's going on? Please. Here's Amos from dummy half. It goes to Tamu. Nobody said it had to be 13 on 13. You're entitled to have 13. But if you can't get it right, it's not the other team's fault. And off the back of all of that, the Cowboys make a mistake. And all the pressure is off the Newcastle Knights. And boy, it's been an ordinary second half from them once again. But it looks as though at this stage, they're going to hang on.
Well, they've had their moments, the Cowboys, their opportunities.
Here's Gidley from dummy half. Turned out differently the second half to what we thought it was going to. And I guess with the Knights, we should have known, Brandy, because, boy, they just can't play after half-time.
Now it's a worry, isn't it? It'd be a worry for Rick Stone. He'll be happy with the 2 points. And well, with 7 to go, you'd think it's safe. Cowboys have been impressive after a disgraceful opening 40 minutes.
Look at those tackles in the opposing 20 in the second half. 19-6 to the team that trailed 30 points to 6 at half-time. Mullen, his kick for position, looking to get it over the head of Ty Williams. Can't achieve that. And the winger will bring it back. And stop, and a good tackle by Mullen, who looks to have shaken off that shoulder injury he was suffering some time ago. And with Dan Toller, they stopped Williams in a hurry. Still barking instructions from out on the right-hand side of the defensive line is Mullen. Now there's a concern here for Ashley Graham. Rattled in the tackle there as they work it away from their own end. John Williams coming in for a hit-up. The plant for Anthony Watts. Gives it to Willie Mason. Tries to hurdle Conlika there. Didn't quite work out the way he intended, I'm sure. Now Matthew Scott. Makes it just beyond the 40. Time for a chip and chase or something out of the ordinary here. Kurt Gidley might be thinking of that because he's playing fairly close to the defensive line. Now he has to backpedal. He was happy to see that kick go over his head, though, because if they're going to do something special, it had to be a chip and chase or a little one in behind the line somehow. And Gidley, good presence to realise that might have been on.
Yeah, he was, and he was up short. To negate that probably wasn't what they wanted. That sort of position, if the short kick's not on, just throw it up in the air. Put it up in the middle of the field, let your chase get through, and you might come up with something. A kick dead isn't going to help you at this stage.
Mika will play it 12 away from the halfway line. Now a penalty. A lot of penalties tonight from up inside the tent. The Knights in the second half have been penalised a couple of times. Now the Cowboys turn to backpedal down the field.
Well, it was James Tamu who left way too early and was standing in the face of Richie Farr, so virtually as he took the ball.
Here's Toller playing it just outside the 20. Madeira goes to Mullen. He takes them on. Trying to bump his way over the top there of Clint Amos, who made a good tackle. Madeira again going from dummy half. Almost away from him, but it was Amos doubling up on his work. Who saved the try for the Cowboys. Mullen almost fired a ball back into the head there of Chris James, who just about got a ball from the 6. Here's Gidley going to Lalia, showing it, going himself, wrapped up by Matthew Scott with some help from Tamu. They're searching for a try in the second half. They still don't have one. Now they might. Sal, though, his tap on wasn't a good one. Picked up by Cooper Vuna. Gives it back to Junior Sal. He offloads it for Corey Patterson. Trying to step out of the tackle of Ty Williams. Gives it back to Cooper Vuna, who has a hat-trick. it's all okay, fellas.
As long as the grounding's fine and Cooper Vuna, hopefully he's just winded himself, because they have had some players with rib problems this year, the Newcastle Knights, but good play on the last tackle. Running the ball, Vuna on the inside. Well, Sau almost dropped that. He wasn't expecting that. Quick offload to Corey Patterson, who was able to hold off Ty Williams and high step his way another couple of metres, then threw it inside, gets Vuna. We'll get a better look at it. Well, did Shannon Gallant, well, he gets the ball down there. If the ball doesn't come free, I think Shannon Gallant almost dislodged that ball, and somehow he's hung on to it. I don't think he got it down the first time.
No, I'm sure he didn't.
But no problems the second.
Marine Lights from Phil Curley, 34 points to 18. And they're on their feet now, the Newcastle fans. The boys have got a tough second half for them to watch. Gidley from 5 in from the touchline. Fading this one. Well, it had a bit of fade, then a bit of hook. It was going one way, then came back the other at the death. Good kick from the returning skipper to make it 36 points to 18. Well, Matty, I don't know what to make of this second half. The Knights are going to get the points, but gee, they made tough work of it.
Yeah, they certainly did, but congratulations to Rick Stone and the Nova Castrians. Have come up with a win, and it's deservedly so after that first 30 minutes. But I've got to take my hat off to Matthew Scott, you know, big Willie Mason, and of course Clint Amos has come on, and Carl Webb. They've come out in the second half. They really stood up after Neil Henry's given them a good spray in the second half. And as senior players in the group, they've certainly come away with a more inspiring second half than what we saw in the first.
Well, that they have, but it will be cold comfort off the back of what they showed in that first 30 minutes in particular.
Yeah, well, the game was gone. It might have been a little more interesting if John Williams had a look to pass when Ray Thompson was on his inside, as the Knights make some good metres. Ty Williams shuts things down. They've been a handful. Junior Sau and Cooper Vuna out on the left, and that's after really all the damage being done on the right early in the game.
Inside the final 60 seconds as it goes to Jared Mullen, who will just grubber it for the touchline. That'll use up plenty of those 60 seconds. And the Knights will move on for a clash in round 7 against the Sharks next Saturday night at Toyota Stadium. As Corey Patterson congratulates Jared Mullen for a job well done. The Cowboys are back at home next Friday night for a rare Friday game for the Cowboys against Parramatta. And depending on what happens tomorrow when the Eels take on the Rabbitohs, there'll be 2 desperate teams up there in that Friday night showdown. Off the back of the scrum, the Cowboys have it, particularly on the final few seconds on the clock here tonight. They'll work it away from their own end. Here's Scott Bolt, grabbed there by Ben Rogers around the chin or thereabouts. John Williams works it away from dummy half. That'll just about do it. I'll get back to his feet to play it here for one final play. Clint Amos gives it to Anthony Watts. A little kick for himself. He regathered, gave it to Shannon Gallant, who popped it straight to Richie Farrow. So he says, who wants it? I don't. What about you, Aquila? And here comes the thriller down the sideline, chipping over the top. Scott Bolton takes it out of play. We might have finished with a flourish for a moment when that man Uarte got the ball in his hands. But the Knights will get the points on Super Saturday. They've beaten the Cowboys 36 points to 18.
This has been a Fox Sports production for the National Rugby League Partnership.